I expect this offseason is going to be kind of crazy in the NFL with free agency, with the trade market. I'm not going to be surprised when it's all types of weird and kind of helter-skelter. It's just the feeling I get, and I know a lot of you probably get too. And we're already on the ground running. You got the Blake Bortles contract extension, and something else happened this past weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs traded star corner, Pro Bowl corner Marcus Peters to the Los Angeles Rams for a 4th and 7th round pick in 2018 and a conditional 3rd round pick in 2019. Now I can already hear it now from a lot of the NFL media that clearly doesn't watch enough games, that frankly doesn't know what they're talking about, and specifically coming from the Pro Football Focus and analytics boys out there in the football world. They're going to talk about how the Chiefs got fleeced. They got rammed straight up the ass in this deal. The Rams are clear-cut big winners. They get a stud, and they gave up so little in terms of truly valuable and meaningful draft pick currency and compensation. Why would the Chiefs get rid of this guy? How could the Rams turn this down? You're going to hear all of this, and I'm assuming it's going to be spun as a big win for the Rams and a loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. And for my money, it couldn't be further from the truth. Let's look at this from a couple of ways. First of all, if Marcus Peters was so damn great, if Marcus Peters was so damn awesome, then why does he get burned for so many big plays and so many basic plays consistently? I've watched enough Chiefs games in his career to see what the truth is. And yes, you're going to have all these clowns that talk about, oh, look at all the big plays he makes. Look at all the interceptions he gets. Yes, he does. And he allows just as many, if not more, big plays for the other team by gambling, blowing assignments in man, blowing assignments in zone, just flat out getting beat in zone, getting beat in man-to-man coverage. The dude is one of the most overrated players in the National Football League, period. And you're not going to change my mind on that because I've seen it. I know it's true. And I know a good number of you watching this video will agree with me. You'd like your corners to not give up a shit ton of big plays. Give me Jalen Ramsey over freaking Marcus Peters any damn day of the week. And also, if you want to talk about how the Rams fleeced them, they rammed them on this deal. The Chiefs, you know damn good and well, went out there and made it known that Marcus Peters was available via trade. They made that known. They made that available. Because why wouldn't they? The best thing they could do is have multiple teams competing for his services, so that way the Chiefs gain what? Leverage. And when they get that leverage, guess what happens? The price goes up. Why do you think the Chiefs were able to get a freaking 3rd round pick in Kendall Fuller for Alex Smith from the Redskins? Well, one, they were trading with Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder, and they're morons. Two, it's because there's the threat of the Browns and other teams out there potentially looking for Alex Smith's services. The Chiefs had leverage, even though they really shouldn't have had leverage because they were still on the hook for Smith's contract in 2018. But they had an environment, created a marketplace where they had leverage, and they got their price. They got a good price for Alex Smith. This was all the price the Chiefs could get. There's a reason for that. Because other teams, like the Broncos and the Browns, just weren't willing to pony up that much, just weren't really that interested in making a deal happen for Marcus Peters. Why do I say that? Because if they were, they would have gotten one done. Especially the Browns, with the number of picks that they had, they could have blown the Rams out of the water in terms of any offer of draft pick currency, period, and everybody knows that. Again, the reason the deal didn't get done with the Browns was because they did not want him. So when you use this whole thing of, well, this is what the Rams gave up and that's all it was, that might be because that's what the market dictated for the Chiefs, meaning that other teams realize that Marcus Peters isn't as damn good as the media and the analytics boys want to make him out to be. And not to mention, when you factor in the fact that he can act like a head case at times, he had some incidents where he had outbursts last year. Didn't he have one in the playoff game too? He's had some issues over the years. He had off-the-field issues going back to Washington. The fact of the matter is, Andy Reid, who has a track record of being willing to take on chances, being willing to take on guys with off-the-field baggage and can be difficult personalities to deal with, he couldn't wait to get rid of Marcus Peters. What the hell does that tell you? That means that his contributions weren't as great as a lot of people believe them to be, and his contributions weren't good enough to counterbalance all the other BS that Marcus Peters brings to the table. As a result, the Chiefs couldn't wait to get rid of him. The Rams did not win this deal by a massive amount. If anything, this trade feels like a good deal for both sides. A good deal for both sides, and that's that. The Chiefs get Marcus Peters, the head case, out of that locker room. And honestly, if he was so great, then why was their secondary and pass defense so terrible anyways? How much worse is it really going to get? How much are they going to really miss him? And the fact is they're really not. And now you were getting to a point in time pretty soon where you have to start considering giving Marcus Peters big-time money and a long-term contract extension. And the Chiefs, already in a bad salary cap place, didn't want to get there with him. So they didn't. They cut and ran before they had to make that type of decision. That was smart. They got multiple draft picks between this draft and the next one. Smart for a team that's going to need some cheap help over the next couple of years to kind of bring the salary cap situation back under control. That makes sense. All the while getting rid of an on-field at times headache, an on-field at times disappointment, and a locker room cancer. The Rams, on the flip side, prepare themselves for life without Trumaine Johnson. You would assume, not guaranteed, but you would assume this means they're going to allow Trumaine Johnson to leave via free agency. But this is a way for, at least in the short term, them to bring in somebody much cheaper in Marcus Peters, see what he has. The price that the Rams gave up was not incredibly cost prohibitive, even though, they're missing picks this year, a 4th and a 7th this year, a 3rd in 2019. If Marcus Peters comes to the NFC and he's a number 1 corner, then you would pay that price 100 out of 100 times, and in another year or two, you'll gladly give him number 1 corner, top 5 at the position money in a new contract. You would. This is a fair and decent deal for both teams, and both teams got out of it what they wanted. To me, the Rams got a cheaper alternative to Trumaine Johnson. The Chiefs got some future salary cap flexibility and additional draft pick currency, and got rid of a headache in a locker room and on the field distraction and cancer. Sometimes guys like Marcus Peters, they go to a new situation, they get with a new coaching staff. Wade Phillips ain't going to play that shit. You're not going to get away with that shit with him. So if Marcus Peters does, his world's going to get wrecked really quickly. And he won't be there long. Because even when you look at like Aqib Talib in Denver, perfect example of, he's always kind of been a bit of a tool, but you were able to keep him under wraps just enough and keep him himself controlled just enough when Wade Phillips was there. Wade Phillips leaves, and look what happens. So to me, it's a kind of similar situation. If Marcus Peters was going to go somewhere else, he could have went somewhere much, much worse than the Los Angeles Rams, especially for the infrastructure they have in place on the defensive side of the ball with the coaching staff. It's not a bad deal for them, but it's also not a bad deal for the Chiefs. It's only a bad deal for the Chiefs if you buy into the fact that you think Marcus Peters is a shutdown, lockdown cover corner in the National Football League. And I've got news for you. He's not. It's a good, fair trade where both teams should be able to walk away from it and feel like they got what they needed out of it.